think something you touched on was defining success for you. And I think that's something that, especially right now with social media, you see people out there preaching on success and how to get successful and how to live life the right way. And business coaches, sales coaches, all these things, right? And there's a lot of noise out there. And I think, one thing I took when I was trying to figure myself out as a man is looking at the man as a full picture. Like for me, what success is being successful husband, a good husband, being a
Yeah,
good
but
father.
you're using the word to describe it.
Right.
So you can't use successful to define success. So how would you
Exactly.
define successful?
Yeah. So how did you figure that out, and just kind of elaborate on that more?
So like I think we can look at success in a lot of different ways, whether that's materialistic bullshit or goals we want to reach or
Mhm.
whatever it is. But how do you boil it down to like the essence of it so that you're always in it, right?
Mhm.
So for me, right, success has jack shit to do with my bank account.
Yeah.
I don't care. What I care about is freedom. And different than most people, I want the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to every day.
Mhm.
I like building a business. I like it because I like the challenge of it. I
Yeah.
like how hard it is to continually figure out and adapt to new things. I like what it teaches me and it learns. And I also like the accountability it brings me that, yo, it's all on me. These are my dreams I'm building. They're not anyone else's.
Right.
These aren't going to be important to anyone else. And so success for me, man, is of the 1,132 weeks I got left to live, I damn sure want to spend them doing things I love.
Yeah.
Damn sure not going to spend them trying to build someone else's dreams and placate my life to someone else's ideas of what success look like.
Mhm.
I'm only accountable to me at the end of this thing. I mean, all the roads lead to the same place, right? Like there's no risk in this life for trying whatever you want. I'm going to be dead at the end of the journey.
Mhm.
And so
Mm.
success, like I said, is spending as much of the remainder of the time of my life chasing things I love.
Yeah. Do you do you think about what you're leaving behind
No,
in that journey?
not a bit. I
How
mean,
do you
if
prepare for that?
anything, impact. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I find all of that really narcissistic.
I
Um,
think that's a good viewpoint on it.
to give you an example, right? Like when I was competing and I remember being at world championships and it coming down to like a last throw, right? Like this is something I've got 20 years of really experience getting me to that moment from
Yeah.
throwing in middle school all the way there. And so to deal with like competition anxiety, one of the ways that I would kind of mentally work my way through like that moment of when it's time to throw and being able to perform was I would remember the really important thing was that none of this fucking matters. For the 3 billion years that Earth has been cruising around and the 14 and a half alleged billion years that the universe has been here, which may be 28 billion, by the way, we may have just doubled that number.
Yeah.
We almost casually doubled forever,
Mhm.
right? We consider 14 and a half billion years forever as the Big Bang, and we just casually doubled it to 28 billion years. We don't know shit. And so,
It's true.
how far I throw a rock today is not exactly going to make the important list of shit that happened on Earth. So, the narcissism of legacy,
Mhm.
that Matt Vincent story here is going to matter because it won't. The dinosaurs were here for 250 million years. We've been here for less than three.
Mhm.
We don't make the news yet of things that have happened on this planet, much less the universe.
Yeah.
So, legacy for me has to be really important on some weird short term frame for people.
Mhm.
I'm also not that interested in, I don't want kids. And so, not having kids. So, I don't have any concerns about what job I build for my next generation. As
Sure.
even if I did, I would prefer them to chase whatever the fuck it is they want to do.
Mhm.
The legacy of being a good person, sure, right? But how many generations before that fades? What are we
Right.
really talking about? 50
Yeah.
years is what most people consider forever. I don't.
Mm.
I look at forever for as all the time that I won't exist after the next 40 years are up.
Mm.
That's forever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend my nickels while I'm here, damn sure as best I can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with the Bible, but in Ecclesiastes, it talks about us being a vapor, right? And chasing after the wind. Excuse me. And how at the end of the day, as you said, none of it matters because we are that big. I mean, on a billion year scale or million year scale, whatever it is. Because you're right, we don't know jack shit. Like we're trying to figure it out, and we keep trying to figure it out, but we don't know jack shit.
We don't know anything.
Hmm.
And the way knowing shit works, and it's a real problem for most people, right?
Hmm.
It's like consider knowledge, and like you know how you're in your late 20s and you kind of have that first feeling of like, oh shit, I got this life thing figured out. I kind of got an idea of what's
And
going
then it
on.
all blows up at 30.
It's essentially like by that point you've kind of entered this big room, and you
Hmm.
know all the people in the room, and you know what the room looks like, and you're very familiar with it, and things are great in there, and you feel very comfortable and confident and all this. And at some point while wandering around that room in your mid 20s that you feel very confident about, you open a door that you haven't seen in the room,
Hmm.
and you realize that room is connected to an infinite number of bigger rooms that you don't know shit about.
Yeah.
And you choose to shut that door and stay in the room you're in, or you go forward and accept the fact that you don't know shit, and also none of the people in that room do.
Hmm. That I think that that is something I see in the world a lot, especially around where we live. I mean, we live in, Carmel, Westfield, Indiana. It's a very nice place to live. It's one of the top rated places in the country to live. And people get very comfortable here and
Yeah,
very
of
like,
course.
and it doesn't mean that they're not financially successful, but I can't tell you how many people I've met that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and are completely ignorant. They don't have a concept of what else is out there. And all they
Yeah,
know is,
and look,
yeah.
I care about if people are happy.
Hmm.
If someone is living their life and doing their thing and they're not on the gas and as much of a lunatic as I am and they're happy, you know,
Sure.
right on.
But do you think complacency is something that's okay?
No, not for me.
Hmm.
But I'm not here to tell anyone else.
Sure.
Oh man, I am not interested to convince other people to chase their dreams.
Hmm.
I want to talk to people who are already excited about chasing their dreams. I'm not
Yeah.
here to sell you on why life is amazing, why the opportunity to be here is incredible. You know,
Hmm.
if you don't see the gift, I don't know that I can help you. But for me, I want to spend time with people. Look, if you are home and doing nothing and sitting on the couch and watching TV and being fucking fat, and you don't ever have a thought that pops across your head that says like, "Oh, this sucks," right on. Because man, I fucking wish I could do that, but I can't.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I play by my rules. I know what makes me happy, and that's my job to figure out. That's my job
Mhm.
to be responsible for, not anyone else's.
Yeah.
You know, so complacency for me is really dangerous. I also think complacency keeps us from growing. I think complacency kills a lot of that momentum. It kills a lot of that drive. And I think it does keep us safe, right? It keeps us in this place of safeness where it becomes scarier and scarier to try something outside of the realm of normal.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
How do you compare?
right or wrong is where I get tricky on telling people what to do because I don't really inherently believe anything is right or wrong.
Hmm. That's interesting. How do you compare complacency and contentment?
So contentment, right? Like I would define contentment for myself as like I can be happy with how things are.
Yeah.
Contentment means like how do I feel right now? Do I feel right now that I am living my dreams, or do I feel that I am in lack and I'm in some scarcity loop of
Hmm.
one day once I get here, I'll feel this.
Yeah.
And living that way is shit. But being content to say like holy shit, I am living my dreams, and that's the reason to keep applying the pressure, and that's the reason to keep going forward, is to continue living my dreams,
Hmm.
because it takes that to continue to grow. As soon as we're not pushing ourselves forward, especially with the gym or training or anything like that, right? Like we atrophy.
Yeah.
It takes stress to adapt, it takes stress to grow. And realizing that for me is what keeps me on the progress of finding ways to grow all the time. Because
Hmm.
there's always a new stress to adapt to. And how lucky I am as a human for the first time in probably 160,000 years that Homo sapiens have been around, that I'm in such a small elite group of humans that I get to choose what I'm interested in
That
to
is
pursue.
true.
That I
Yeah.
just get, you know how crazy it is that I get to sit here and talk in a fucking studio to people
To
because I
gift
wanted
ourselves.
to,
Yeah.
right? Like most of the jobs that I know people I deal with have, these jobs didn't exist when we all went to college.